Hello, squirrel friends. Welcome back to my channel for another Saturday book review and eye makeup. This one for Halloween, and that's so fun. This is my favorite holiday. So we're doing a spooky book. It is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. It is a kid's book, but I think it's really fun and it's super spooky. So you're pretty much following Coraline, and she has just moved into this new flat in England. Neil Gaiman says that he originally had this. He started this as a story for his, I think, then oldest daughter, one of his daughters, and didn't finish it. And then they moved to America. So he kind of based it on the house based on two different flats that they owned at the time. So very interesting that he based it on that, but it was written as like a children's story because apparently she liked very spooky books and being scared and stuff like that. So kindred spirit to me. But yeah, the little thing liked to be scared, so he wrote this book for her, but ended up finishing it after she was a little too old for the book. But I don't think anybody's too old for this book. This book's fun. It's extremely fun. I enjoyed it immensely. So don't think that you have to be a little kid to read it. It's just written at a younger kid's level, but it's written at the same level like at Harry Potter and stuff like that. So it's not really that, but it's really good. But he wrote it for his daughter. He said the reason he named her Coraline and not Caroline was because when he typed it out, he typed out Coraline and then just went with it. Was like, why not, you know? Sometimes the mistakes are the best part of something. So you're following Coraline, and Coraline has just moved into this new flat with her parents. She's an only child. It really does seem like both of her parents are workaholics. They don't know when to stop, and they're not really that attentive, and they really tell her to go figure something out, go play, go do something else and stay out of our way. Which I think is kind of understandable a little bit in like these times, because a lot of parents are living at home or working from home and their kids are in the midst of everything right now. But anyway, the flat that they live in has a secret room, well, a door, and it goes to nothing. Her mom shows her that it goes to nothing. So it was, because the house they live in is part of a huge house, and they own a part of, so the house was cut up into different flats, and they own one part of that house. Because I had a door like that in a house I lived in Columbus. Was when you walked into the house, so you'd walk in, and then there was a door to your right, a doorway that had been walled up, but the door frame was still there. You couldn't go through it because it was just wall, but the outline of the door was still there. Really interesting. But this one actually has a door, so the door still opens and closes. It just opens up into a brick wall normally. But Coraline ends up getting bored because she hasn't started school yet at her new school, but she wants to, she's a little kid. She's probably about 8 or 9, and she wants to investigate things and understand stuff. She's a very precocious little girl, and I really like that about her. But she goes and starts to investigate this house. And as she's investigating this house, she runs upon she goes outside and discovers a cot. So she finds this cat just kind of wandering around her yard, and is like, hey, hello. Which is interesting. The cat starts following her around and stuff like that. It's really cute. And then one day she's really, really annoyed at her parents. They're very much working. They don't really want to deal with her at the moment. They have their own stuff to get going, and they are like, go do something. So she takes the key for this door that's in the parlor. This time, when she goes through the door, it opens into a hallway of sorts. Very dark, goes into the hallway. And she's like, where does this go? So she follows it, and she winds up in her apartment again. She's like, I thought this would lead to like somewhere else, not back to my apartment. And she hears her mom cooking in the kitchen, and she's like, Mom doesn't cook. That's just weird. So she goes into the kitchen, and then there's her mom. She's like, oh, hi, Mom. And her mom turns around, and her mom has button eyes. Just buttons for eyes. And she's like, I'm not your mom, I'm your other mom. Like, you know, like cool mom, I'm the cool mom. And she's like, don't know about that. And she's like, oh, okay. So she goes in there, and she's like, okay. And then she's like, well, where's Dad? And the other mom says, okay, well, your other dad is in his room. And she goes in, talks to her other dad, and she realizes that these parents are very, very fun. They want to deal with her, whereas her real parents don't really want much to do with her. They don't really have too much interest in Coraline. Which is sad, you know, that like a little kid like that feels like her parents don't really want much to do with her. But Coraline ends up going and finding her other father. And she has other mother. And I didn't know this, because I read this book a while ago too. And I've seen the recent adaptation, you know, the stop motion version of this book. I didn't know that Neil Gaiman based the other mother on a short story that was in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. You remember those? They were weird by Schwartz. And the other mother is a short story from that. And I didn't know that. I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. But I found that out, and that's really interesting. So at first, other mother seems really nice, and she's like, you can stay here if you want. We love you. We would love for you to stay with us. And she's like, I don't know about this. Coraline's like, I don't know. That seems a little presumptuous that you want me to stay with you. She ends up saying, no, I don't know about this, and goes away, goes back to her real family, goes back to the land, her real world. But other mother's like, well, if you ever want to come back, we love you. And other mother's great. She cooks amazing food. She wants to play games with Coraline. She's very attentive to her. She's very interested in what Coraline wants to do and how Coraline feels, which is very different than her family back in the real world. But one day, Coraline starts realizing that I don't know how she lets it go on this long. Her parents don't come home. Like, they just don't come home from wherever they are. She can't find them. They're not in their rooms. They are gone. And she's like, I don't know what happened to my mom and dad. And she's like, I don't know. This is very strange. Where could they be? She's like, I don't know what to do. And she goes back into the other world with other mother. And that's when she runs into the cat again. I think she had already seen the kitty once before. But now she's running into the cat again. And the cat's like, you need to be wary of her. And she's like, I will. It's really funny. I love the cat because the cat is a cat. Like he wrote the cat to be a cat. It's hilarious because the cat talks to Coraline like a cat would. My favorite line that the cat says is the cat goes, I'm a cat. We don't have names. And she's like, what? You don't have names? He's like, unlike humans, we know who we are. I don't need a name. And I was like, that's an interesting way of looking at things, isn't it? I know who I am, so I don't need a name. Oh, that's really cool, you know? Can you imagine if we really thought that? Like, I don't need a name because I know who I am? Like, maybe some of us don't know who we are, and so that's why we need our names. But anyway, I love the cat. I think the cat's hilarious. Very strange little cat. And she has neighbors too that are very weird. And she has other neighbors as well, which is very creepy. And she has other neighbors, other mom, other dad. But yeah, so this book was creepy because it's kind of like Alice in Wonderland, where something's not right and you really just want to go home, but you don't know how to get home. So you're very worried that you'll never be able to get home. She gets trapped by Other Mother. Other Mother turns not real great, and she ends up taking Coraline and telling her that she has to stay there because she has her parents. And so Coraline's like, I don't know about this woman. She meets these other kids. They're ghosts at this point. They've been killed by the other mother. And she's done this before. She decides to play a game with Other Mother. And that if she can find the three little kids' souls that she's hidden somewhere in this realm that she makes up, and her parents, that the other mother will let her go home. Because they tell her that she's really into games. And the cat tells her the other mother's really into games. So she's like, okay, I can play her at her own game. And so she's like, if we do this, you will let me go and let my parents go. And Other Mother's like, girl, okay, whatever. So she agrees, which is very strange. And you're like, why would she agree so easily? Because she got a plan. So Other Mother is just really playing along, you know. She's just sitting there like a big spider going like, I rule this world. Like, why would I just let you go, girl? Like, why would I just let you come into my world, trap you in here, just to be like, yeah, I'll play a game and let you figure out stuff and you can go home? No. So the weirdest part, I think, of this whole thing is that Coraline tries really hard to find her parents and the little kids' souls, which is really creepy that there's little kids' souls. This woman, this thing, she's not a woman, she's a thing. This thing has killed these little kids and is doing it over and over and over and over and over. So creepy to be doing this. So Coraline goes on this trip to like find everything. So what do you think's gonna happen? Do you think Coraline's gonna find her parents? Do you think she's gonna find the little kids' souls? You never know. But I liked the book a lot. It plays a lot on like childhood fears that people have. Fears of like never finding our way home. It's a lot of craziness like that. That's the biggest part of like this whole world that he's built, is because there's a lot of childhood fears. And I think that's why this book transcends ages so much, is because of those fears that we all are ingrained with. Like, we all are scared of finding out our parents aren't who they are, or our parents disappearing, or being in a really new situation with different people that we don't trust. Like that, you know, which is super scary. It'd be scary for us, it'd be scary for kids. It's terrifying. But I really enjoyed the book. I read it really quickly because it's not really that long. It is designed for children, but I supremely enjoyed the book. They go more into like detail with like her other neighbors and all the creepiness that how much her other mother controls this other world, and what happens to her parents, Coraline's parents, and it kind of talks to children about like that everything's not about you, but your parents should pay attention to you a little bit more than what they do. I don't know if that's his commentary on parents that he was observing at the time, maybe. Very interesting that he pretty much calls out parents for not paying attention to their children. I was really terrified by the book. I enjoyed it quite a bit because of like all the childhood fears that you have. Like, can you imagine like finding another realm inside your house? I don't know about that. But that would be kind of fun, but then scary at the same time, you know? I think this got a little out of hand, but it's okay. The black always gets out of hand for me. I definitely enjoyed Other Mother. She was creepy. Like, nuts woman. And you don't really know what she is. Like, is she some kind of creature? Why is she doing this? Like, is she kind of like Jeepers Creepers? Which I kind of thought she was. I kind of thought she was like similar to Jeepers Creepers. You know how he comes out so often and like needs to eat. I kind of feel like that was similar. Can you imagine? I really enjoyed this book. I really went into it thinking like it was gonna be fantastic, and I wasn't disappointed because this is a classic children's book for Halloween, especially. This is really fun to read to children, to read to each other. This one, it's super creepy because it could never happen. Like, this is never, you're never gonna find some like alternative realm within your house where you're gonna have some other mother. But at the same time, like, there are like metaphors in this book, like having maybe your parents divorce and you are forced to have another mother, and maybe other mother's not nice. That's not saying like all stepmoms are gonna be horrible and all stepdads are horrible, but like, you know, it could happen. It could happen. And that's what's creepy about the, oh my goodness, I just put, ooh. Okay. I think that's the creepiest part about this whole thing, is that it's not like, this couldn't happen, like, this isn't gonna happen, like somebody, like your other mother's not just gonna appear out of like a closet and be like, you're mine. It could happen. Oh yeah, maybe. I doubt it. That'd be fucking nuts. Just, couldn't do that. Something popped out of my closet, you know? But that kind of like, the book also like preys upon those fears, like something in your closet. Something crazy coming out of like the woodwork to get you as a little kid, and you don't have really much that control about it until you act like a little child. And let's play a game, you know? Which is fun and creepy at the same time. But this is the final look. What do you think of the pinks and pinks and pinks? I just love that. Makes me kind of a pink vampire, which is fun. So go out and get Coraline. It's a really fun book to read. It's not like horrifying in the way that there's a lot of horrible, terrifying goriness all up in it. I think more of it just preys upon the fear, like I've said before, like preys upon the fears of us being little kids and having no control over our lives. I think that's the biggest fear of this all. I hope you guys enjoyed this book. It didn't really turn out exactly what I wanted, but it's still pretty, I think. We all know how much I like the blacks. Have a happy Halloween, guys. I hope you're enjoying your Halloween this year, even though we don't get to do as much stuff as we do. That's why the books are coming more handy this time, to read about going to haunted houses, read about horrors that are happening, instead of like being out there having fun with our friends. Stay safe out there. Don't go to any parties. That's crazy. I hope you're still using your mask really well. I will see you guys again soon. Bye.